What's new, crew? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name's Cassandra, and today I'm bringing you guys along to take a deep peek in all of my chest freezers. If you're new here, we homestead. We like to raise or grow or produce as much of our food as possible. We utilize our freezers for a ton of stuff because I don't pressure can yet. We're getting there. But everything that should be pressure canned or is not safe for water bath canning, I blanch and freeze. So a lot of our vegetables from the garden are in here, or our locally sourced vegetables. You'll see that. We're starting with one of our largest chest freezers. This is a 6x6. This has a home in our garage, and I'm gonna show you guys what we have in here, and then we'll go down in the basement and show you guys our two remaining chest freezers down there, how we organize things, and basically just kind of all the ins and outs of our freezers here for our family of 6. So let's go ahead and open this thing and just show you guys what we have in here. So this freezer holds most of our meat. Right now we have some local pork. We buy our pork from our neighbors. We buy a whole pig for them every year. So lots of bacon. We have breakfast sausage here and Italian sausage. If you are looking to get into buying a pig and you want to have it be as cost efficient as possible, one of the easiest things to do, instead of getting Italian sausage, which we use a ton of, you can just get regular pork sausage when you're cooking it up in your skillet or in the stove or whatever before you throw it into spaghetti sauce, wherever it is. You can just add in basil and oregano, some salt and pepper, make your own Italian seasoning or Italian sausage out of your regular pork sausage, because this will save you, I think my husband calculated it out, it's like 72 cents from our local butcher, 72 cents a roll of sausage. So if you do it that way, it will save you some money for sure. We have 1 pound packages and half-pound packages. So we do get a variety of different sizes, just depending on how big the pig is that we're getting, because obviously a smaller pig, you'll get smaller quantities of your desired meat of choice. But this whole section here is just bacon, breakfast sausage, Italian sausage. We have more sausage here. It's not organized from maple sausage versus Italian sausage. It's just kind of thrown in here. So this whole thing is more sausage. Now we're getting into our fish. We do a ton of fishing. It's one of our favorite proteins. We use it a ton of different ways. We have some brook trout here. We roast this whole in the oven. We like to take a slab of our bacon here, put it inside the fish, some lemon pepper, a little bit of butter maybe, salt. It's really simple and delicious. We roast it, then we just eat it with mashed potatoes, gravy, and some sort of vegetable. It's one of our favorite meals. Or we will smoke it, and then we mix it with cream cheese, a little bit of Old Bay, and we spread it on crackers and use it as a snack. That is absolutely delicious. So we've got some trout here. This is more trout as well, just a different variety. I'm pretty sure this is a brown trout, but they're not labeled, so I can't tell you 100%, but a couple fillets of that here. This is some more trout. This is actually a smoked salmon. We do a salmon trip. Well, my husband does. Usually we'll do a salmon fishing trip, a big trip, twice a year, once in the spring, once in the fall, when the salmon are running here locally, and then he'll go up into usually Lake Michigan and do some salmon out of there as well. So he'll go a couple times a year to fill up the freezers with salmon for the year, and this one is smoked, so we can take this out. It's really good on bagels with cream cheese and like a fried egg from the chickens, or just as a snack. We'll take out some smoked salmon, keep it in the fridge for a week or two, and eat off of it. It's delicious. More salmon here. This is another salmon. So you can tell we have a lot in here right now. This is whitefish. This was the first season. My husband's gone for that. We do not like it. So kind of just periodically throughout the winter, we're going to thaw it out and give it to the chickens, and the chickens will eat it for a protein boost. It'll help get them through the winter, and that's how we're going to use it that way. We've tried cooking it in a couple different ways. We just don't like it, but it's not going to go to waste. The chickens will enjoy it, and throughout the winter, they're going to need that protein boost anyways. It helps keep them healthy and all those things while they're not free ranging. makes the eggs taste really good. So the chickens will get that just kind of slowly over the course of the winter. So we do have some store-bought things. My peas and carrots did not do very well this year in the garden. We had a deer get in and just completely ate through all of my peas and most of my carrots. They just didn't do that great. My carrots never do very well here. We have very clay-like soil. We're going to fix that for the next garden season, and hopefully next year we'll have a much better carrot harvest. But I like this mix, just the peas and carrots mix. You get both. We use this in our pot pies, in soups, in casseroles and things. So here is a big old bag of shredded zucchini. We have so much zucchini shredded this year. I dehydrated some as well, but shredded, we use this in muffins. I put this in my meatballs. We put it in meatloaf, a ton of different things. Of course, zucchini bread, but mostly muffins and breads, I would say for sure, but definitely have some savory things. I like to make this cheddar beer zucchini bread. It's very delicious. I have my Pinterest linked down below. That recipe's there. But zucchini for lots of different things. We will go through this throughout the winter for sure. So we have some bags of pan fish in here, which is just a mix of fish, bluegill, sunfish, whatever it is. We use these for fish fries. So we've got a couple bags in here like this right now. These are diced peppers. Some people have said, I'm surprised you don't vacuum seal your food. So you're gonna see our fish, most of our fish are vacuum sealed. I don't vacuum seal our vegetables because we eat through them in a year. If I were planning to keep them in here for longer than that, I would definitely vacuum seal them. But we're eating through these, we're constantly rotating. And if you keep your vegetables up high in the freezer, up towards the top of your freezer here, it freezes a lot less harsh than if it does all the way at the bottom. So I just try to keep my vegetables up top. It keeps them fresher longer, keeps them from getting freezer burnt, and you can see I have them double bagged here. So I have a meal's worth of peppers in a sandwich sized Ziploc bag, and then they're also in a gallon sized freezer bag. I do this so that they're easy to find. All of my peppers are in one spot. I can just open the freezer bag, grab a meal's worth of peppers, close the freezer bag back up, and take what I need. I really like to do that. So these ones are diced. I also have sliced. So these ones are sliced bell peppers. I do like to have a mixture of things. The slices I use in like fajitas, in Philly steaks, and things like that. And then our diced ones go in our strombolis, in like meatloaf, all those things. So we do have different varieties. Here is a bag of cauliflower from the garden. I just blanch and freeze it. It holds really well. This has been in here probably since June though, so I'm going to use this up probably within the next couple of weeks. Hot dog buns. I also have a bag of tater tots in here. Tater tot casserole is one of my kids' favorite meals, so I try to keep tater tots on hand. The rest of our pork here, pork chops, square ribs, picnic pork chops, like all sorts of things. These are our big pieces from our pig in here. I also have a bag of, this is a mixed bag of green beans and broccoli and snap peas. This was like the last harvest out of the garden, and I just decided to blanch it all together and put it in a freezer bag. And this is quickly becoming one of our favorite mixes. So next year during the garden season, I think I'm gonna do a lot more mixed vegetable bags because we like them a lot. I did get this bag of a snap pea stir fry mix. I wanted to give this a try because if we like it during next garden season, I will preserve some stir fry mixes like this to have that are like our own garden vegetables. It's more of the same in here, more fish. I do have a lot of bags of tomatoes in here. We're going to be making barbecue sauce out of those and some different things, but that's coming up in the garden season. We've got more trout here, more canned fish, but that's essentially what's in here. The whole bottom of this is full of garden tomatoes that I need to process still, but other than that, you get the gist. It's mostly pork with a little bit of overflow vegetables that couldn't fit in our other freezers. So we do like to keep it somewhat organized, but for the most part, I know what's in here and where it is. So as long as I can find it, it really doesn't bother me too much. But this is an overview of our first freezer, mostly fish, mostly pork, and just a couple other random things. Here we are with freezer number 2. This one is slightly smaller. This is a 5-foot cubic freezer, so just a little bit smaller than the one we just looked at. And you can see this one has a lot of random stuff in it as well. Let's start at the top here. These are my 3 very lonely bags of celery in here. I forgot to grow celery in my garden this year, so once these are gone, I'll just buy probably some celery in bulk, blanch it, freeze it, put it in the freezer, and have it throughout the winter. It's the easiest way to meal prep. And then for soups, stews, whatever it is, I can just throw in a bag of celery. Once I do learn how to pressure can, I have intentions of canning celery and carrots together, because if I'm making soup, I'm always putting in carrots and celery together, pot pies, whatever it is. So I want to can those together so that I can dump them in together. I want to make some, I would love to can like pot pie filling, chicken noodle soup base, like all of that stuff together, and do a lot more shelf stable homemade meals that are canned. I think for convenience, my family would use those a lot. So I would like to learn how to do those. That is on my plan for this winter, to try to figure that out. But for right now, it has a home in my freezer. Lots of shredded cabbage. This is the first year I have had a huge bumper crop of cabbage. So usually I just make it into sauerkraut, but I had enough sauerkraut, so I decided to try to shred it, blanch it, and freeze it for the first time this year. I have like 6 bags that are like this in here this year. Buttered cabbage is one of my favorite sides. I love to throw cabbage in all my soups and stews. It's delicious. So a lot of shredded cabbage in here. We have 2 huge hams from that same pig that is in the freezer upstairs. We have 2 of them in here. We're saving one for Christmas because we always host Christmas. The other one within the next week or 2, probably, you know, I'm not even sure. I'm gonna have to talk to my husband, but eventually, soon, I would like to get it out of the freezer, roast it in my roaster pan like I would for Christmas, and shred it, chop it, and put it back in the freezer for just kind of some meal prep. We like to throw that with our chicken eggs or in our quiche, whatever it is. I do keep some pie crusts in here for quiche. I love these from Aldi because they come right in the tin pan. All you have to do is throw your quiche filling in here, bake it, put it back in the freezer, and it's just really great. So I do like this. More shredded cabbage. These are blanched Brussels sprouts. This is the first year I've grown Brussels sprouts. I wanted to grow more broccoli, but my broccoli just didn't take, so I had extra space in the garden. My brother actually suggested to grow Brussels sprouts. So I did that for the first time. They did fantastic. We've only cooked them up once or twice. I like them. My husband likes them. Everybody else is kind of on the fence about it, so I could see myself growing these again, but it's definitely not something that I would put rows and rows and rows in because we don't use it a ton. But these are really good, especially with some of the salmon. So we've got more fillets of salmon here. These ones are just larger fillets of salmon. We're saving some of these for Christmas. So we'll do a ham, we'll do a salmon, but lots of big pieces of salmon in here, huge fillets. Lots of corn on the cob here. These are locally sourced. We don't grow our own corn, so some corn on the cob. And then the rest of this freezer from here all the way to the bottom is ground beef. We only buy ground beef in bulk, and then all of our steaks, roasts, and things like that we get from venison. So my husband will hunt for all of our steaks, all of our roasts, and then we also turn our venison into like hot dogs, summer sausage, things like that. So we only buy ground beef and we use it that way. So that's what the rest of this freezer is. I do have some other stuff in this corner. Cauliflower rice. This Tupperware has leftover birthday cake in it. We'll probably pull this out and enjoy that. That's been in there since June. Some peas from the store, more cabbage, and then you can see this is the other ham that we have in here, and then the rest of our ground beef on the bottom down there. So that kind of concludes this freezer. Not quite as big as the other one, but you can see it's just kind of more of the same, more fish, more pork, but mostly vegetables, and then that ground beef that's all the way in the bottom in there. Then this is our final freezer. This is almost all store-bought things. This is our smallest freezer. It's a 3-foot cubic freezer, so by far our smallest freezer. In here I have pretty much everything from Aldi. So we've got some frozen berries, blueberries, strawberries, lunch meat, cheese. I do like to keep some whipped cream on hand for those random pies. I do always get heavy cream from the store, and I could easily make my own whipped topping. I do that all the time, but this is really convenient, so I do like to keep 1 or 2 of these in here for, like, maybe it's the end of the month. I grocery shop once a month. I am probably out of heavy cream by then, so I can go down in the basement, grab some whipped topping, and we can still throw this on our pies or our crumbles, or I have one kid who loves it on their hot chocolate, so things like that. And then you kind of get the gist. Tortillas. Once we get past our thin layer of our monthly store-bought items, we start getting back into garden produce. For the first time this year, I decided to make some salsa bags. So in here we have peppers, onions, and tomatoes. So I can make a batch of fresh salsa whenever we run out of our canned salsa, or maybe we're having game night or something with some family and I want to make a fresh batch of salsa. I can do that here. So really excited about these. I have probably, I don't know how many bags we did, you guys. I think we did 10 bags of these little salsa kits, which are very fun. I am really excited to have these, but lots of these in here because we had so many tomatoes this year and so many peppers this year. So I decided to do that for something new. I have a bag in here of whole green peppers from the garden for stuffed peppers. We're starting to get back down here, you guys. All right, so we've got more shredded zucchini in here. You can see it's not very organized. I know where things are, so this doesn't bother me. I know I get comments sometimes. People think I'm crazy for doing this, but I know what's in here, and it's hard to forget that you have all the salsa kits, all your peppers when you were the one that packaged it. You were the one that grew it, that picked it, that processed it, and put it in here. I know what's in here. It is, on occasion, I lose something to the bottom of the freezer, but if I lose one bag of something, that's not that big of a deal to me. My chickens can get it if it gets too far gone. So that's kind of where that is for me. It doesn't bother me. But we got more salsa kits. I definitely have to take things out to get in here for sure. All the way on the bottom here, we have a couple pieces. I mean, just a couple pieces of last year's venison. It's pretty much all gone. This is a ham bone, great for making soups or rices or beans, whatever. I do have a ham bone from the 3rd ham that we got off of our pig this year. I already processed one ham, and this is just the last piece from that I have. I know at the very bottom of this freezer, I found some Hawaiian rolls on sale. They were like 99 cents a bag. I bought 4 or 5 of them and put them in this freezer. Those are all the way on the bottom, just for really convenient things. Like, I just went on a trip and I was out of town for 4 days. My husband was here alone. I handle all the kitchen stuff, typically, all of the bread making, the cookies, the whatever it is, I handle that stuff, the homemade pastas. So when I left, I had prepped some burger patties, and those were in the freezer. We did those together. That video is linked down below for you guys. I did not have time to make homemade hamburger buns, so my husband went in here, went to the bottom of the freezer, pulled out some of those hamburger buns, and he was good to go. Eventually, I do want to have a day where I prep some pizza crust, burger buns, some hot dog buns, things like that. That'll probably come up maybe before the holidays. It just depends on how crazy things are around here, but a very simple look in this freezer right now. And this is just kind of how it's looking. Mostly venison on the bottom, some of our salsa kits, more garden produce, and then on the top here, these are just those couple store-bought items that we buy every month, mostly berries. I'm not making cheese right now, or at all. It's another thing on my list I want to learn. My neighbor makes her own cheese, so she said that she would teach me how to make cheese. So hopefully that'll be coming eventually. Starting to learn how to make sourdough, so eventually I'm going to start making my own sourdough tortillas. So lots of things in here that are really good and really easy. Lots of garden produce mostly. In the spring, we are going to invest in meat birds. We are doing research over the winter, trying to figure out exactly how we want to do it. This spring is going to be crazy busy for us because we are adding to the homestead 100 berry plants of different varieties: golden raspberries, black raspberries, blueberries, you get the gist. Raspberries, blueberries, blackberries. We're adding 100 plants of those. We're also adding in apple trees, cherry trees, pears. We have our list written out. Over the last couple weeks, my husband has been crazily researching permaculture orchards. That's kind of been his task and his joy for the winter months. We are going to be putting in a permaculture orchard on one part of our property, and we are so excited. Of course, I'm going to film that and make some videos on that, but my husband has been taking that over, so I'm just kind of his assistant in that. But we're putting in asparagus and a ton of perennials, a lot of herbs, a lot of really great things with our trees, nitrogen fixing trees, and it's going to be really beautiful and really fun. But my point is, we're gonna be really busy. We have the berry plants to plant, we have all the trees to put in, all the perennials to put in underneath the trees, and then we're also gonna be doing meat birds. We have to put up another coop and more shelter for that. We have to figure out exactly how we wanna do it. We do have all the equipment to process birds, so that's already taken care of, but we're gonna do quail, we're looking into rabbits possibly, we're gonna do just regular chickens, we're talking about maybe doing turkeys, lots of different things. So a lot of things are coming into the homestead in the next couple of months to really push us being just that much more self-sufficient. So that being said, that's kind of why I do want to learn how to pressure can, get some of this stuff out of my freezers, make room for the meat that's going to be putting in the freezers. We are probably going to have to purchase another freezer. It's just kind of the way it is when you're processing a whole year's worth of meat at a time and a whole year's worth of vegetables at a time. So that's kind of that. Those are the look on my 3 deep freezers. The freezer that I keep up in my kitchen. We just did a video cleaning that freezer out after preservation season because it got a little crazy in there. But my kitchen upstairs, I only put things that are open in there. So if I have an open bag of mixed vegetables, it goes up in my kitchen. That way when I'm cooking, I can look in there first, and if I don't have it in that one freezer, I know I can venture out to my other deep freezers, pull it out, open it, and then it goes in my kitchen freezer until it's empty, and then the process kind of continues. That also helps me prevent freezer burn or things getting lost to the bottom of the freezers. Having 3 or 4 bags open of the same thing, because once it's open, it lives upstairs in my kitchen, and if it's not there, then you can go open a new package. We do that with all things, even if it's like tater tots or chicken nuggets, whatever it is. That's kind of our rule of thumb around here. So those are a look at my 3 deep freezers. It's kind of for giggles here. This is the shelf that I'm using for my canned goods. However, they were bowing really bad, and my husband was like, Cassandra, get your jars off of there, because I know you don't want them sitting on the floor, but it's better than having the shelf crash and break a whole year's, sometimes 2 years worth of canning. So I took everything off the shelf. My husband is building me a new shelf. I've mentioned that before, but it is happening probably this weekend. We have all of the material for it now. So we have lots of jars of like sloppy Joe mix. I'll just go over this really quickly because I do want to do a separate video on these. Pasta sauces, applesauce, more sloppy Joe mix, some apple pie filling. We've got some coleslaw that we did here with some of that extra sauerkraut that I had. So we did a couple jars of this. We've got, of course, lots of pickles here. Lots and lots and lots of spaghetti sauce. We've got some salsa variation. I have a couple things of blackberry jam here, which is delicious. Here's some of our sauerkraut. So lots of things here, more salsa, lots and lots and lots of hot sauce, different variations here. We did some dilly beans, which is always a family favorite. So lots of things, more things kind of pouring over here where we typically keep equipment like our meat grinder and smoking chips. So lots of things over here. Really excited about these things. But yeah, so we do a lot of canning, but for right now, a lot of things are in the freezer. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to hang out with me, taking a look in all of my Homestead freezers, a little bit of my Homestead bulk storage, and things like that. Once I can get the shelves up and everything put up on the shelf, I'll probably make a video together where we can go ahead and organize things, get everything up on the shelves, and then we'll do another video on a tour of our bulk can storage, talking about recipes, the new things that I learned to can this year, different things like that, and spend some time together that way. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope wherever you are, you're having a fantastic day, and I will catch you guys in the next one.